do church has changed forever. Most of the churches I've spoken to say they will never again just be an in-person worship experience and not just an online worship experience, but probably a hybrid of both. They feel it to be important to seamlessly connect those who prefer the in-person and those who prefer the online and those who prefer to dabble in both experiences. Tony Morgan, who is the founder of the Unstuck Group, a Horizons partner, says this: "The need for a digital ministry will not go away once we reopen church buildings. Most churches need to shift from being a church with online services to being an online church with in-person options." Definitely a changing environment. In most churches, ministry opportunities are expanding. People have lost jobs. People are experiencing loneliness and isolation from those that they love. And communities that the churches serve are also in desperate need of support and assistance. So opportunities to engage in ministry both internally and externally have increased considerably over the last few months. And in the meantime, Giving USA research tells us that giving to religious organizations as a part of the total charitable pie continues to decline. In the mid-1980s, giving to charitable organizations was 50% of overall donations. And just this past year in 2019, that declined to 29%. So religious organizations continue to experience the decline of giving to their organizations, and we have increasing numbers of nonprofits just to worsen our situation. So as we enter this next phase of our ministry together, thinking about doing things the way we've always done them is not the best way to go about, and is probably truly the definition of insanity. So what is it we do know about giving and generosity? What are the things that are forever true about this area? The first is comes from my favorite stewardship scripture, not one typically preached or taught during stewardship season, but John 3:16 is one of my favorites. It's one of the best known scriptures as well, about because God so loved the world that he gave us his son. It tells us a lot about God's character, that God is both loving and generous. And if we are born in God's image, then we are also born to be loving and generous. So growing in generosity enables us to become closer to the person God intended for us to be. I like to talk about generosity as a journey of gratitude, prayer, and faith. The first part of that journey is an acknowledgement that everything we have is a gift from God. And out of that sense of abundance and joy comes a sense of gratitude to God for the gifts that we've been given. We want to respond to God and express our gratitude. And so we need to prayerfully discern how God would have us use those gifts. So generosity is grounded in gratitude, revealed through prayer, and lived in faith. Often through our prayerful conversations with God, God takes us to places that we've never been before and invites us to be more generous than we have ever been before. And so it often takes a leap of faith to actually do those things that God is calling us to do. And last, generosity is a critical part of our journey as Christ disciples. It is an important part of our journey and our faith development. So, how do we grow giving in an online world? First, we need to respond to two questions. The first question is, why should I give? And that's really a spiritual question, and one we've just laid the foundation for. But the second question is a little harder. The second question is, why should I give to you? Why is your church worthy of my generous support? So we're going to talk about all of those ways in which you might make a case for why giving to your church is an important part of the donor's experience.